Hi, I'm Fox Psycher, your host with the most fur. Let's talk about gaming. More specifically, gaming drama, considering one of my new favorite games, Armored Core 6. Now, I've played a lot of Souls games, and, since Elden Ring, I admit I was a little late to the game. My bad. I heard that, Dark Souls is just hard for hard's sake, and I just didn't seem too interested until I saw those trailers for Elden Ring, It 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 just pulled me in, it did. And I've since, played the Dark Souls trilogy, Bloodborne, a little bit of Sekiro, although I'm getting kind of tired trying to figure out the timings of the blockings and the counters at the right time, which is kind of difficult, but I haven't even touched Demon Souls yet for PS5 because I wanted to beat Sekiro first, so here we are. But online, I see a lot of controversy and stuff, and that I found rather interesting, and I wanted to talk about that because, especially with Armored Core 6, because there's always this consensus that, you know, because these games are difficult, the developers will actually make it easier to make more money. And I don't really see that as the case. But to be more specific, uh, there was a recent patch recently of Armored Core 6 that did some changes to the first three major bosses. Well, almost three of the first major bosses. I mean, there's some in between. But more specifically, like Baltius. Baltius was, and I'm probably sure I'm saying his name wrong, was designed to be a bit of a skill check or a wall, much like Margit and Elden Ring, or some of the other bosses that we first ish encounter. A lot of people say when it comes to Armor Core, they got filtered by Baltius, which whatever. And where these changes are present, like they made him 3% easier max. It's not like the Radahn nerf from Elden Ring, which, kind of stupefied the difficulty to a lot of the gamers. And I'm just kind of thinking, just how ridiculous it is that there's two to three sides of the argument. You got these people who are like, you haven't beaten the game unless if you beat Baltius pre-nerf. And from what I can tell, it wasn't really a nerf. It was more of fixing things that and behaviors that the bosses were doing to be more in line with what they originally intended, because Baltius is a chapter 1 boss. He felt a little tougher than that at first. But then again, let me explain what I mean by tough, because a lot of people are like, oh, you just needed to get good, man. I didn't know you could replay missions originally to get more money to buy more equipment. I thought I just had to, suffer until I make it. The old Dark Souls mentality. I haven't played Armored Core since the first. And then you got the other hand where people are just, complaining about the people complaining about the nerf. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a major change. And, with this particular community, I just find it kind of funny. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it, you know, just because content, right? But honestly, I went through it all and I roughed through it, and I was using the base mech up until after Sea Spider, so I don't want to hear about how much of a big pecker you have because you beat a boss pre-nerf. Like, I did it a lot harder than you did. You probably put your ass onto YouTube and looked up all the cheese builds you could just to get past that freaking boss. We aren't the same, but you know, it's not just this, but there's just controversy all around that I find funny. Like, if you ever see a Spider-Man 2 game, like, trailer or explanations of what to come, to what to be hyped about, you got all these comments like, it looks like a PS4 game, and like, no way is it gonna win Game of the Year. It looks just like the last ones. I didn't see you guys bitching when like Arkham Asylum came out and the games after that. Like, I didn't hear anybody going like, it's just like Arkham Asylum. It looks like a last gen game. Like, come on. Get over yourselves. Like, I think it's like either people are just like super negative trying to be like the next AVGN or whatever, or angry video game reviewer of some kind, or being super critical when they don't need to be, or just, simply an expot or something. But like, eh, it's just funny, I think. At the same time, I find it kind of disheartening. I start to wonder if people actually like games anymore. You know, I especially loved Armored Core 6, even when it was kicking my freaking teeth in. And I had a harder time, like I said, than a lot of people did because of my own player error, and it wasn't just a skill issue. I got good, but I got good the harder way than I needed to. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to talk about this because I don't see a lot of people talking about it, except for online and like social media. Like, at this point, we should just like kind of give devs a little slack. I mean, unless if they're being outrageous, like, some companies can be, and like shoving microtransactions and, doing all this stuff that's like we can all agree is pretty terrible, like releasing unfinished games. But Armored Core 6 came out pretty feature complete, from software, if nothing else, does that pretty often. Anyways, I just wanted to give my 2 cents, chat with you guys a little bit about gaming, and see if you find it interesting. Maybe ease the little tensions and bruise the little egos, I suppose. Like, you're not superior because you beat Beltius pre-nerf, and I say nerf with quotations because that's not really what happened. And you're not missing out if you start the game now and patch it, okay? Play the freaking game. It's a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, that's what games should be.